And he know when I go spend time with my piece, I'm going through things. You know what I'm saying? When he was there, at least I know where he was at. Because it was something that we didn't do. It's something that we normally do. Y'all with me? And it was good for it.
Tank is always in the spotlight, whether it's for his brutal knockouts, intense rivalries, or the drama surrounding his camp. There's never a dull moment when it comes to him. But this time, the focus isn't on his fights, it's on his corner. Just weeks after his surprising majority draw against Lamont Roach Jr., Barry Hunter, who stepped in as his trainer when Calvin Ford took a break, has officially parted ways with the Baltimore fighter. The events leading up to this split are just as important as the split itself. Tank's longtime trainer, Calvin Ford, stepped away before the Roach fight. Ford had been the driving force behind Tank's rise, shaping him from a young amateur into one of boxing's most feared knockout artists. With Ford out, Barry Hunter took over. While Hunter had been around Tank's camp before, this was his first time leading the corner in a major fight.
I could have definitely did more. Just a lot going on. But again, it was myself, But you gotta go to the gym and, get back to the drawing board and, train a little harder.
Even with the change in trainers, Tank's team stayed confident, assuring everyone that nothing had changed. They insisted he was just as sharp, just as dangerous, and fully prepared to put on a show. Most people expected Lamont Roach Jr. to be just another addition to Tank's highlight reel. While Roach was known for his skill and toughness, few saw him as a real threat to Tank's dominance.
They don't rob scorecards. They said majority draw. They cheated Roach. Roach got robbed, and everybody knows it. Rematch.
But once the fight started, it was a completely different story. From the opening rounds, Roach wasn't just hanging in there, he was thriving. He landed clean shots, matched Tank's pace, and never backed down. Meanwhile, Tank seemed hesitant, missing the explosiveness that made him so dangerous. As the fight went on, it became clear, this wasn't the Tank Davis fans were used to seeing.
Do you think Tank gets a lot of criticism for not knocking Lamont out and Lamont not being a big name, so they overblow it?
I think so, yeah, and I feel like people just don't like Tank to a point where any little thing, just because he ain't knock him out, he probably feel as though that he lost, and he didn't, or it was a draw, I feel like Tank was doing a lot of smart things in the beginning, moving a little bit too much.
A defining moment came in the 9th round when Tank unexpectedly took a knee, complaining about irritation in his eye. The referee gave him time to recover, but by then, the momentum had completely shifted to Roach. In the later rounds, Roach kept pressing forward while Tank struggled to land the knockout punch that made him famous. By the final bell, it was clear, this wasn't the dominant showing everyone expected. When the scorecards were read, one judge had Tank winning, but the other two scored it even, resulting in a majority draw. The boxing world was stunned. This was supposed to be an easy win, a tune-up fight to set up something bigger. Instead, Tank barely made it out with a draw.
But enough.
Can you describe what the feeling was like in the ring? And was it to get the towel out, to get the burn out of your eyes, or what was going on? And
I didn't want to get caught. While my eyes was burning.
Barry Hunter didn't hold back in the post-fight interview. He was blunt, saying Tank lost focus during the fight. It was a tough critique, but it quickly caught on. Tank had never looked this unfocused before. He had battled through adversity, faced bigger punchers, slicker boxers, and tougher opponents. Yet, in the one fight without Calvin Ford in his corner, he suddenly struggled against a fighter many believed was a level below him.
Is these days kind of averaging one fight a year, which is a shame. He wants to have 3 more fights and then retire by the end of 2025. Does he get?
The fallout was immediate. Fans and analysts picked apart every moment of the fight, searching for answers. Some blamed Tank's training camp, others thought he underestimated Roach, and many pointed the finger at Barry Hunter. The biggest debate became whether Hunter had properly prepared Tank. Now, Hunter has officially cut ties with Tank. Aside from his comments about Tank's lack of focus, he hasn't given much detail, but the message is clear. The partnership didn't work, and he's moving on. With Hunter gone, Tank is now actively working to reunite with Calvin Ford.
Tell us something, bro. Like, what did you think about the decision?
I ain't gonna shit on him.
Okay.
We still got to see each other. He say he want to fight me, so we gonna fight.
But what do you think about the decision?
I told him I won.
You told him on one. Got you. I'll talk to you later.
Sources close to the situation say Tank has already reached out, eager to get Ford back in his corner for a planned return in May. Ford has remained silent, but given their history, it's likely he'll come back. Their bond goes beyond just fighter and trainer. Ford has been Tank's mentor, his guiding force, and the one who understands his style better than anyone. If Tank is going to return to his dominant form, it will be with Ford in his corner. But even with the reunion in the works, the damage from the Roach fight is done. Tank's aura of invincibility has taken a serious hit. Frustrated by the controversial draw, he's now pushing hard for a rematch, looking to run it back as soon as May.
On a rematch, do you let me know now? Do you want to fight Tank again? He said he open to do a rematch. Do you want to fight Tank
100%. It's only a matter of time. We're gonna fight. We're gonna fight again. It's just whenever the fight gonna happen.
So it's gonna happen.
It's gonna happen.
The WBA lightweight champ isn't happy with how things played out and wants a rematch to prove he should have won outright. The first fight left a bad taste for Davis, who believes the controversy in the 9th round played a major role in the final result. When he took a knee and asked his corner to wipe his eye, referee Steve Willis didn't count it as a knockdown. But in Roach's eyes, if it had been ruled correctly, it could have changed everything. Two judges scored it 114 to 114, while one had Davis winning 115 to 113. A knockdown might have swung the fight in Roach's favor. That detail has Tank fired up. He's determined to settle it once and for all in a rematch.
Man, I'm not. Honestly, I thought I should have won without that being counted a knockdown. Look, I ain't the ref. I ain't really, you know what I'm saying? Like, if he had to wipe sweat out his eye, he had to wipe sweat out his eye. But the rules do state, if you voluntarily take a knee, then that's an automatic game.
After a few days of silence, Tank took to social media to let everyone know he's pushing for the rematch. Despite initially saying it wouldn't happen next, he's now trying to lock it in for May. That's a big shift from his earlier stance, showing just how much the fight, and all the controversy around it, has been weighing on him. The 9th round incident isn't just controversial because of the non-knockdown call, it's also about Tank's explanation. He claimed hair grease got into his eye, affecting his vision. That statement instantly became a hot topic, with fans debating whether it was a real issue or just an excuse. Roach didn't hold back, making his stance clear. The rules are the rules, and if a fighter voluntarily goes down, it should count as a knockdown.
Feeling shocked, man, but 90% of people saying that Lamont Roach won, he got robbed, that knee should have been a knockdown. But hey, I'm looking at a rule that somebody found. I don't know if it's true, but hey, man, that applies to the situation. Was it really a knockdown?
Then came another twist. Tank's own hairstylist clapped back at his claim. The stylist, who goes by Lee the brand on Instagram, denied using any grease in his hair before the fight. She even posted a picture of the exact product she used, pointing out that the label clearly says, "No grease." To her, Tank's excuse didn't add up. She also questioned the timeline, reminding everyone that she braided his hair on Wednesday. Since then, he had gone through media duties, workouts, and the weigh-in before stepping into the ring on Saturday. If grease was really an issue, why didn't it cause problems earlier? Her response only fueled the debate, making it seem like Tank was reaching for an explanation. Meanwhile, Roach isn't waiting around for Tank to make up his mind. He's keeping his options open, including a potential fight with WBC lightweight champion Shakur Stevenson. He made it clear he wants the biggest fights, and if Tank isn't available, he's more than willing to test himself against Stevenson. The two have already talked about it, making it a real possibility. Tank's sudden push for the rematch suggests he's feeling the heat from all the criticism. His performance against Roach raised serious questions, and some believe he got exposed. Roach, who moved up from super featherweight for this fight, wasn't supposed to be a real threat. Yet, he fought Tank evenly, and some even argue he did enough to win.
Did you think it was a draw? Nah. I thought Lamont won. Who you thought won? Lamont.
You thought Lamont won? By how many rounds?
I don't know. You still want this?
If Davis doesn't fight Roach again and dominate, this draw will keep coming up every time his name is mentioned. It's the kind of mark on a fighter's record that sticks, especially for someone like Tank, who built his reputation as an elite finisher. That's why this rematch is so important. It's not just about settling the score, it's about proving the first fight was a fluke, that he had an off night, and that he's levels above Roach. But to make that statement, he needs to get back in the right mindset, especially after losing Barry Hunter. Hunter, who stepped in when Calvin Ford took a break, walked away from the team after the draw. He didn't sugarcoat it, saying Tank lost focus, which played a big role in his inability to put Roach away. With Hunter gone, Tank is now working to reunite with Ford, hoping to have him back in his corner for the rematch.
Clearly in there, man. I thought I won. I thought I did enough to get the victory over a spectacular fighter. I told y'all from the beginning, man, that I got the skills to pay the bills. I've been telling y'all.
There's an undeniable irony in all of this. The one-time Tank doesn't have Calvin Ford in his corner. He gets pushed to the limit by a fighter many saw as a tune-up opponent. Roach wasn't expected to give him this kind of trouble, but without Ford's guidance, Tank looked lost at times. That raises a key question. Did Tank struggle because Roach was better than expected, or was it because Ford wasn't there to keep him locked in? Now, with Tank pushing hard for the rematch, the focus shifts to whether he can actually make it happen. There are still hurdles to clear, including negotiations and timing, but one thing is clear. Tank doesn't want to let this one go unanswered.
He's respectful, his whole team is respectful and things like that, so we always show respect to one another, but you know this is a hurt sport, so...
Roach might see a fight with Stevenson as the better option, both financially and in terms of legacy. If he goes that route, Tank will have no choice but to find another opponent while waiting for Roach's schedule to open up. But if Roach is willing to run it back, their rematch could be one of the biggest fights of the first half of the year. For now, Tank is doing everything he can to make it happen. He knows that if he doesn't, the criticism will only grow louder, and the doubts about him will continue to build.
We could get it before, it probably won't be this year.
Is that the one you want next?
It's definitely the one I want next, but it's not gonna be next.
He's already taken heat for the hair grease excuse, and he can't afford to let the doubts linger. If the rematch gets signed, it'll be the ultimate proving ground for Davis. Either he comes back stronger and dominates, or Roach shows the first fight wasn't a fluke. One thing is certain, Tank isn't used to being in this position. He's the knockout artist, the one opponents are supposed to fear. But after Roach took him to the wire, that perception started to shift. Now, he's fighting not just to win, but to remind everyone why he was once considered one of the most dangerous men in boxing. And if he doesn't get that rematch, those questions will never go away.
Nobody like a draw, you know, from a guy that did knockouts and things like that, but it's cool. I feel like if we fight again, I could do more.
The controversy just won't die down. Now the New York State Athletic Commission is stepping in, reviewing what went down in the 9th round. That moment when Tank took a knee is under the microscope. Steve Willis started a count but never officially ruled it a knockdown. If he had, Roach would have taken the win on the cards. Now, boxing Twitter is on fire, with fighters and analysts going back and forth. But this isn't the usual post-fight chatter. It's more heated, more intense. Tank's got people questioning his performance, Roach is gaining even more respect, and the debate over that call isn't going away anytime soon. Lamont Roach and others are now claiming that the fight result might actually get overturned, changing the draw to a win in Roach's favor. Roach himself hinted at it, saying, "Word round the block, y'all. Fight about to be 30-1, not 30-1-2. Two-time, two-division champ." Combat sports journalist Luke Thomas also weighed in, saying on X that if the commission overturns the result, it would be the first good decision an athletic commission has made in some time. But historically, commissions rarely change fight results for situations like this. A rematch remains the best and most realistic solution, and with all the controversy, it's already shaping up to be a massive fight out of nowhere.
I didn't want to get caught. While my eyes was burning. And you know, like, you can get knocked out like that. So I'd rather take the knee than, you know. But I didn't really know that you can, like, get disqualified for all that. Or, like, when you start counting, I'm like, what the hell?
The WBA is pushing for a rematch between Gervonta Tank Davis and Lamont Roach Jr. following their highly controversial draw on Saturday. Despite retaining his WBA lightweight title and undefeated record, Davis may have been spared from defeat by referee Steve Willis in round 9. After taking a knee following a punch from Roach, Davis rushed to his corner to have his face wiped, later claiming that grease from his hair was burning his eyes. While Willis reprimanded him, he didn't rule it a knockdown, nor did the judges. Had it been scored as 1, Roach could have won the round 10-8 or possibly 10-9, which might have been enough to secure him the victory in Brooklyn.
What happened? I just got my hair done 2 days ago and she put grease in my shit, so the shit was like, you know, like when you sweating and things like that and the grease come in my face.
WBA President Gilberto Mendoza made it clear, there's no doubt a rematch is happening. Speaking to the ring, he said, "I think this supersedes public perception. We have a huge star in the sport, and we need to send a strong message." Mendoza acknowledged the controversy, questioning referee Steve Willis's decision. Maybe he saw a competitive fight, maybe he thought it wasn't a punch, but how do you explain Tank putting his knee on the canvas? The fact that Davis didn't drop immediately after Roach landed the shot only adds to the debate, making a rematch feel inevitable.
You think he'll ever fight you?
Lamont or Tank?
Nah, Tank.
Yeah, I think he don't got no choice. I think that tonight was a wake-up call for him. And he probably gonna try to go train hard.
Now, Davis is working behind the scenes to lock in the rematch for May. He's not just talking about it on X. He's actively pushing his team to get it done. He wants to prove the first fight was a fluke, that Roach wasn't really on his level. But the controversy from their first meeting has only fueled Roach's determination. He no longer sees Davis as an untouchable star. He smelled blood in Brooklyn and wants to finish what he started. Roach has been vocal, demanding the rematch, not just because he wants it, but because he believes he deserves it. In his eyes, if the 9th round knockdown had been counted, he would have won. Now, he's making it clear, if they run it back, there will be no excuses, no questionable calls, just a definitive winner. Davis is still downplaying Roach's performance, insisting the fight would have never been close if not for the hair grease incident. Yet, he's the one pushing for a rematch. It's a contradiction, but it's only making the fight even bigger. Fans are already debating who really won, and both fighters are keeping the buzz alive. Behind the scenes, negotiations are underway. Promoters see the rematch as a goldmine. Controversy has turned Roach into a bigger name overnight, and Tank now has something to prove. A fight that was never even supposed to happen is suddenly shaping up to be one of the most talked about rematches in boxing.
Para poderlo noquear, y el cual Loma venía muy bien preparado, muy bien concentrado en el plan de trabajo. Bueno, creo que a Tank le faltó presionar, tirar más golpes para ser más contundente y que se viera más efectivo a la hora de la victoria.
¿Te gustaría ver una revancha entre ellos?
Pues estaría muy agradable, ahora sí que la primera.
Tank's team is determined to set the record straight with a dominant performance. The first fight was too close for comfort, and Davis doesn't want another debatable decision. He knows he has to make a statement, especially after the backlash he faced. Roach, on the other hand, is looking to build on the momentum from their first fight. He's no longer just an opponent, he's a real threat, and he knows it.
They ain't believe me. I told them too. A whole lot of times. Y'all got me fucked up. I'm really that.
Lamar.
Despite initially saying the rematch wouldn't happen next, Tank has changed his stance. The pressure is mounting, and he refuses to let this controversy define him. Now, he's fully locked in, pushing for May, making it clear that Roach is his next target. With the WBA backing the fight and both fighters wanting it, the rematch feels inevitable. The only thing left is the official announcement, and when that happens, the hype will explode all over again.